Big cat sightings in the UK are on the increase. Some areas are now called panther hotspots.
That ain't no normal cat. Jesus, that must be huge.
It's bright green-eyed and it flew. It absolutely sped off into the darkness.
I entered the heathland just before it got dark, and lo and behold, the crows started giving alarm calls. So I waited and looked, and there it was. A long, low, large, jet-black animal emerged from the bushes.
But what is it that people are reporting? Animal Planet has set out to investigate the sightings of big cats in the UK. We need to track one to prove they exist. So we've called in expert big game tracker Ian Maxwell, all the way from Kenya.
It's huge, it's magnificent. Imagine coming across one of these in England.
Max began tracking in Africa at the age of 8, learning his skills from local bushmen. But before tackling big cats in the British Isles, Max shows us the techniques that he uses out in the Kenyan bush and how he'll adapt them when he starts to track in the UK.
I've come to this really high point here to zone in. This is called a sit spot. And what it does is give me a view of the whole of this area. There's these green trees, fever trees, which means that there's water there. Behind that, there's the plains, a bit like the heathland in England. So the cat's got everything it needs here. And what I'm doing, I'm zoning in to get into the mind of this cat, so that when I come to track it, it's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to be here for about an hour. I'm going to listen to the birds, watch the warthogs, and see how they move. If they jump or make a lot of noise, the cat is here. Big cats are really simple things. All they need is 3 things: food, water, and a mate. I came down here last night and I could actually check what prints were here. Today, I'm looking for new prints. Coming across all sorts of things here. We've got baby ellies, we've got jackals, but also because I'm tracking on my own, I don't want to stay just on here. I actually want to zigzag from the left over to the right. A couple of steps, and then zigzag from the right over to the left. Always casting my eyes a little bit forward. Just here, I've come across some elephant dung. But what is really important about this elephant dung is the urination. When it urinated is very important for actually time stamping when that elephant was here.
The amount of urine that has evaporated tells me that the elephant passed here 3 hours ago.
And I'd use that technique wherever I was in the world, whether it was in the UK, South America, or Africa. I've come across some baby elephant prints right here. Quite small. Look at that. What they're doing is they pick up the dust, they flick the dust over the back of their neck. It's a fantastic sight. But this little elephant's quite lazy because it's just dragging its feet along. It's not bothering to lift them up. I don't always look at the ground. Sometimes I lift my head up. I can see a trail which comes from that side there, going all the way down here. This is really what I'd call a trail, and this is what I'd call a run. And this is quite specialized. I could see the giraffe have been up and down this one. And there's also been zebra. So I'm just going to have a look further down this trail and see what we can find. Ah, okay. I expected this. There's more of these ellies that have just been bringing up the trunks and spraying themselves with dust. But I've got a giraffe. Okay, the tracks are quite hard to see for a giraffe, but you can see how big they are. And these little bits here at the back, they're called toes, strangely enough.
Foot plates of giraffe are larger than dinner plates. Each foot can be 30 centimeters long by 23 centimeters wide. That's 3 times the size of a print left by a cow.
The giraffe majestically moves off. There's more. The giraffe moves off up there. But I'm going to stay on this run and keep going, see what else we can find. because this is where we're likely to find cat tracks. And I think probably in the dead of the night or the early hours of the morning, this is a busy motorway. This is full of animals. They'd rather go along here because they don't make so much noise. If they go through the grass will move around and it makes a lot of noise. If they move along here, it's nice and silent. They've got to cover the grass. If you were like a cat, you'd go down and do exactly the same. Stay below the grass line. No one can see you from that. Off you go, silently.
No big cat prints so far, but plenty of others.
We're starting to see mongoose coming in.
There are a dozen different mongoose species around here, but only one has got those really long toes. That tells me it's a water mongoose. Mongoose have long, sharp nails to catch their food. They eat everything, but they're far too smart to be caught themselves.
Quite a big mongoose, but he's doing exactly the same as everyone else. Use this road, the path of least resistance. Why go off into the bush? Walk into these acacias. Why get thorns in your feet? Just keep going on this nice sandy. Look how sandy that is. That's fantastic. Bet it feels really good on feet.
I was hoping to find some big cat prints by now, but good tracking is all about patience. They're here somewhere.
I've been following this road all day long and I've come across the first sign that I've found all day. And this is what it is. It's definitely a big cat. I'm so excited about that because I'm going to have a much closer look to see what it's been eating. But before I do that, I've got to put gloves on because this stuff could contain some really dangerous diseases. Oh, the first thing I notice, it stinks. It really does smell. Okay. We know this is a big cat because it's calcified, which means that basically the white bit is calcium from the bones, where it's been eating bones. It really does smell. And as I go through here, I can see that it's sort of mixed up with bits of meat, some skin. But also, it's got lots of little hairs in there. And the hairs could probably tell us what it's been eating. And from the look of this, I think this is an impala. Some more bits of skin. No one else could have done this. This has to be a big cat. There's no doubt about it. Look at that. That's a fantastic print. And I think that's a line. It's a big one. And this should tie in with the scat just a little bit behind me. Look at the size of those digits. They're huge. Look at that hind pad. That's massive.
The lion is by far the largest cat in Africa and leaves a large round print of 12 centimeters in diameter. The back pad of all cats, even pets, have 3 lobes that are fused together.
This is definitely a lion, and we're not far behind it. There we go. There we go, another one. Now, first thing I notice is no more going up that way, and this one looks like it's going up this path. Just going to go up that path.
We're now hot on the track of the biggest of all cats.
Okay, I've given up tracking on foot. It's far too dangerous. So I've got back into the vehicle so I can get closer to these lions. 20.
I'm looking very closely for depressions in the grass so I can see where the lions put down his paws.
That's a big lion. That's a big one. That's a full-grown mother that we're looking at the moment. And something tells me that they're actually really hungry because she is alert. Uh-oh. Look at the face. And that little face, the jaw drop and the slant eyes, the focused eyes means there's something ahead. Now that is quite often the look you'll see just before an ambush predator goes down.
It's by studying these lions here in Kenya that I hope to figure out how a big cat thinks. Zoning in to the mind of a big cat is the only way I'll be able to track one in England. There isn't just one lion here, there are two, a mother and her almost fully grown cub.
That is the cub just leading ahead of the mother. But as the wind comes in, again, it gives her more cover to move. And there, just as I was saying that, a breeze came in and the cub moves. There, the head's up. Look at the spots on the back of it. It's quite a big cub. It's got to be hungry. And I do wonder if that cub's actually made a kill itself yet, or if Mom is going to try and teach it tonight. Tracking's a bit like a sort of Miss Marple, a murder mystery, and trying to work out what they're all up to.
I've picked up another lion track, leading me deep into the bush.
The cubs are messing around. One just messing around here. It's really unusual this time of day. But one thing I've got to make sure of is I listen out, because the mother could be anywhere and she's going to get really agitated.
The gazelles can also sense that she's close by.
The most interesting thing about this is that while I can't see her, she can see me. If you listen to the bird sounds, because they're all alarming at the moment. If this was in the UK, this would be exactly the same. The grass is very similar to the Sussex Downs. It's brown, but a cat in the UK will be equally hard to spot, maybe harder.
Finally, the lioness breaks cover to return to her cubs.
I can hear the mother now. That means mother's knows we're here. And within 2 or 3 leaps, that lion could have me. And all big cats is they feel really confident in their camouflage. But if she starts to look at us and we start to move, she'll think, maybe my camouflage is not so good. I'm going to chase them off, or I'm going to get out of here. And it's the chasing off bit that I'm not really looking forward to at all. Early in the morning we started tracking. We started to pick up good tracks midday. And the real beauty of it is, and the reward for me as a tracker, is to get this close. That's a good sign. But listen to the little, they're purring with affection. Hard to believe, isn't it? That's one of the finest ambush predators in the world.
Yesterday, we got carried away with the lion cubs. It was a really unique sight. But today, we need to concentrate on leopards. Those are the main sightings in the UK.
I just love tracking and being in the outdoors. It is fantastic. But what I'm just coming across at the moment are leopard tracks. Absolutely brilliant. Look at them. There they go. And they're just walking down a road. It's really casual, not worried about anything at all, going about its daily business. Look at that, more tracks. Wow, look at that one.
The leopard is only a third the size of a lion, and its print much smaller, 6 centimeters across. Leopards climb trees, and big-footed lions don't. It's important to get up early and see the fresh tracks that the cats left overnight. I call this reading the morning papers.
This is perfect. It's so well defined and so clear, but also, amazing thing about this, it's time-stamped. Because a vehicle drove over this sometime between last night and this morning. About 3 o'clock this morning, this leopard was on walkabouts. Next to it, we got like a print, which looks like it could be from a horse, but I know it's a zebra, but it could be a bridleway in the UK. And then right next to it, we've got leopard. These are fused interdigital pads, which basically means it's one pad. It's like a heel of a human. And it's these lobes here that I'm going to be looking for when we go back to the UK and have a good look for this cat. There we go. There we go. Ah, wow. This is really interesting here. kind of hard to see sometimes. But this leopard actually has a walk down here in a really relaxed mode. Not worried about anything at all, particularly it was out looking, hunting. But at this point, it stopped and it looked to its left. Why did it look to its left? Because there's a road down there. And it did a T-stop. You can see that because this cat is actually turning to look to the left with that pad. And that one there is turning to the right. So you can see its head looking over there. That's what it's done. It's kind of gone to the left, to the right, and then it's moved off. There we go. I just kind of asked myself, why is this leopard going right instead of left? What actually influenced its decision? This leopard has come off the road, has come through the grass down here, and has put his print down here. Why? I don't know, but I suspect because there's partridge prints down there, it's come in to look for a partridge. A little bird, fantastic meal for a leopard. Look at that. That's amazing. We found the skull of a zebra, but it shows all the signs of a big cat kill. The way a puma or leopard kills, it kills with real precision, a bite to the neck, and that's it, severs the cords. But we can also see this kind of being eaten away from the top of the skull. But looking around me, this is like a graveyard of bones. There's bones absolutely everywhere. What a perfect place to bring your kill to eat it, because you can see all around you, and there's nothing can creep up on you.
I know I'm very close now, and I have to be very quiet, very careful.
There it is. It's panting, it's got a huge head. It knows that we're here, but I think it wants to stay where it is. Look at it, it's huge, it's magnificent. Imagine coming across one of these in England.
There have been clusters of big cat sightings all over the UK. In the west, the famous beast of Bodmin. To the east, Lincolnshire lynx. To the north, Durham puma. And in the south, the Dorset panther. By far the most common sightings are black leopards. British big cats became extinct hundreds of years ago. Early sightings are thought to be connected to escapees from travelling circuses of exotic animals in the 18th and 19th centuries. I'm going to investigate a report of a big black animal on a riverbank. I'm expecting it to be a lot tougher than it was in the bush. In the national parks of Kenya, I'd expect to find a big cat in every 10 square kilometers of territory. But in the UK, it's going to be something like 1 in 500 square kilometers. To add to the challenge, there are 6.5 million dogs in the UK. A lot of them are black, and a lot of them are leopard size.
I've come across these tracks on this riverbank, and a lot of people confuse dog tracks with cat tracks. And the first thing that I'm going to look at is the configuration of what that print is like. First of all, a dog print is always oval in shape, and a cat print is round, a bit like that. There is a saying, if it's round, it ain't a hound. The other most important thing is the claw marks, and the claw marks are very big in this print. Just like the one I've got here, we can see clearly the claw marks here, but they're not on the cat. And the reason they're not on the cat is because the claws are retracted by a tendon. The only time they come out is when it actually wants to attack its prey or climb up a tree, and then the claw comes out.
I'm also going to have a good look round to see if I can find any scat. That's animal droppings. There's some activity here, and I can see the grass has been moved around, but when I look a little bit closer, I can see that there's some scat. One of the things I'm thinking about is there's a track just in front of me, and it's very like Kenya. Exactly the same place a cat would have put its scat down to mark its territories. And the behavior in Kenya of a cat would be exactly the same as in the UK. Putting my gloves on at the moment, it's really important from a safety point of view, because these scats can contain all sorts of diseases and they can be very toxic. The other thing, of course, is if we're going to take a DNA sample from scat, it has to be clean. A little bit of hair, but vegetation. Now, when I look at scat like this, I use a general rule of thumb. About a fly an hour in the summertime, up to 5 hours. And then after 5 hours, it crusts up, and then there's no more flies come back. The flies are not interested in a scat anymore after it's become crusty. This one's sort of 50% animal parts and 50% vegetation. That's interesting. That's a quill from a bird. It's very different to the line that we actually saw in Kenya, isn't it? The line in Kenya was very grey because of the calcium that it had extracted from the bones. It's unlikely to be a big cat with this amount of vegetation. And a big cat would have had bigger bone pieces in there. The animal that did the scat, its last meal was probably bird, and not very much of a bird. The only things I've found are mandibles from a small mammal and a very small foot. To sum up, this is not a big cat. It doesn't resemble any big cats that I've ever seen before in their scats.
If I had to make an educated guess, I'd say that this scat was left by a badger. I've only got 2 weeks and I need to find an area where there's been a reliable sighting and make sure that the witness really did see a big cat. That's why I'm going to the Midlands, where a policeman who was on holiday with his family managed to record a big cat from this car park.
We decided to stop in this little village called Kimber, which is about 2 miles down the road. My brother-in-law John had a look on the map and thought there's a nice area close by where we could go for a walk. When we came back, we were putting the children back in the car and getting ready to leave when my wife pointed out a cat which is just up on the rise in the distance above us over there.
This is exclusive footage. I'm the first person outside Derek's family to see it.
That ain't no normal cat.
It's a panther.
I could hear my wife in the background making a flippant comment saying, it looks like a panther, or words to that effect. But I actually thought it was some sort of a big cat. I was adamant that it was not a domestic cat. I expressed it to being the size of an Alsatian dog.
You can take my word for it, that cat is the size of a very big dog. Believe me, that is not a small cat. No. Jesus, that must be huge.
The distance from where I was stood, I estimated to be approximately 300 feet. And realising the distance it was, I knew that if it was a domestic cat, it would have been a lot smaller. So I used my digital camera to zoom in on the cat, and then I could see that it had quite a long tail. And that's what first made me realise this is not a normal cat. It appeared to look towards me when I was filming. Being a loud person myself, it could probably hear me talking and getting excited the fact I was filming a big cat.
It's a beast of Bodmin.
All the family all agreed that it was some sort of large cat. So it was quite exciting, yeah. It was nice to see, to actually think I've actually filmed a big cat in the wild.
I'm in this field that Derek filmed the leopard. And what I'm trying to do is I'm working out exactly what this cat did and why it was doing it. But just like Kenya in Africa, it was following the shadows and was thinking, what am I going to do next? But what I'm noticing here is rabbit. This is just what we need to know, because every cat needs food, and rabbit is perfect for a cat. A rabbit a day will keep this cat going, no problems at all.
There's a way for me to check the size of this cat. The video shows a tree in the background. Maybe I can use this to scale the
cat.
One thing we got in the back of that film was this tree. It's about the size of my hand from the camera angle. To me, that says that the cat was about 10 feet away from here, and that means it was pretty big.
Derek has told me where the police send their footage for analysis, and I'm going to use the same methods the police used to blow up his footage of a cat and be able to watch it in slow motion. This is just great watching this being blown up frame by frame, because just look at that. As it lifts its front pad up on the right-hand side, its front leg is huge. It's really thick. One characteristic of wild cats is that they do something called direct register. And that means that it puts its back paw in exactly the same position as its front paw. And that's to reduce the noise that it makes and to reduce the breaking of leaves or the breaking of twigs. The domestic cat doesn't do that. It only puts part of its hind pad onto the front pad when it's walking. And just as I go through this, literally frame by frame, I see more and more of the bulk, the upper bulk of its front shoulders that I couldn't see on the original footage. Now, just going through this literally frame by frame, its tail's curving down towards the ground. And as it turns to look at Derek, we can see its 2 ears pointing up and directly at Derek. And that is a cat that's extremely wary of its surroundings. There they are, look at those ears, we can see the eyes. It stops and it looks. Not too worried about Derek, it's saying, because I'm in my home range and I know every nook and cranny. Come any closer and I'm out of here. But what I find remarkable is that a domestic cat would not have been bothered about Derek at all and would have just gone about its daily duties. There are 4 facts that would tell me that this is the behavior of a wild cat. The first thing is the bulk of its shoulders, its long tail, the fact that it actually has direct register and its method of hunting are all characteristics of a black leopard. Derek is a policeman trained to make accurate observations, and now I'm going south to Dorset to meet another reliable witness, John McGowan. He's got no video footage, but as a local mammal expert, he's able to describe in detail what he saw.
I was out on the heath, herd of deer were here, and I sat down just as it was getting dark, and I noticed the birds on the edge of a woodland giving alarm calls. The deer all looked that direction over there. The animal moved along the edge of the woodland because the crows and magpies followed it, cackling and cawing all the way until it reached about that point. And then I thought, well, there's something there. It's not just a fox. The deer that were here scarpered. I knew it was a leopard because the way it was moving, and it was totally different from that of a dog or a cat. Its muscles were rippling on its back. You can see its shoulder blade muscles. Big head, but a short face, not long like a dog.
John told me he saw a black leopard in this area, so I've come here to zone in, and that's getting into the mind of the animal that I'm going to be tracking. Part of that is also zoning out, and that's working out what the landscape is actually doing. Just like Kenya, this cat has got everything that it needs. It's got heathland, it's got forest, and it's got a freshwater lake. I've also heard of a number of sightings on this road late at night.
We've got a road here. Next to the road, we've got a forest about here and a freshwater lake in this area. On the headland here, it comes round and there's a harbour about here. Now, the interesting thing about this is between the forest, which is here, and the lake, which is here, John saw a big black cat in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush out these paths to make sure that if the cat comes back, I'm going to see its prints. And this lake is just like the lake in Kenya. Lots of animals would come down here to drink. A big cat would also come down here, and we know that it's coming from the forest across the road
to the lake to catch whatever it's after. And I'm going to go and look for some sign. Before you go into woods like this, wide-angle vision is a very good thing to do. It increases your awareness and basically gets you to see things that are on the peripheral of your vision. And the way I do that is I start off and I put my hands to the side and I wiggle my fingers, really looking at the horizon and the sky at the same time. And as my fingers come in, and as soon as I can see them wiggle, that's me into wide-angle vision. But that'll change because as soon as I see something move, it's splatter. So it's like see a rabbit move, eyes go onto it, then back into wide-angle vision. I'm also looking at trees for scratch marks. And cats do that. It's a territorial thing. They'll scratch down on that tree. But also they try to do that to get rid of any of the sheaths on top of their nails, and get rid of those old sheaths and get new ones on. I've come to this gate, which is a man-made barrier, and this is a really good place for an animal to cross. It would rather go over this gate than through the brambles on my right. And when it does that, it's going to leave behind some sign. It's going to leave scratches on top, scratches on the bits of wood underneath. But I can see here, a horse has done just like a cat. It's rubbed against the gate and trapped some hair in his screw. And I'm listening for bird language here. That's really important because a predator is going to set off bird language. And not only can we hear it, but if we can see a bird, we know what it's doing and we know what the predator is. So if the bird shoots up like a piece of popcorn, then it's a serious predator. If it does a little hook onto the nearest bush, we know that it's a small predator. I've tracked big cats all over the world, and a very important safety tip is that if you see one, ignore it, and hopefully it will ignore you and go to ground. If you're involved in a confrontation, the first thing to do is to make eye contact and back off very, very slowly. If you turn and run, it will be the last run that you ever make. One little device I carry to get me out of sticky situations is this, and it makes a bang, a bit like a firework, but it doesn't hurt the cat. Just like Kenya, I'm up early the next day to read the newspapers. The prince left overnight in my sand trap. But all I seem to have caught is something that looks like a fox. We're on this very busy pathway here. It's lots of confused sign, humans, rabbit, and here we have a fox traveling in this direction. But the way I'm going to check this is by using a technique I use all over the world. And what I do is I place bits of grass on the print. If these two blades of grass cross and don't touch any of the pads, it's definitely a fox. But the thing that confirms it are these two claw marks right at the front of these pads. In Kenya, I'd be confident in finding a leopard within 2 days of tracking, but I've now been here in Dorset for longer than that and found no tracks at all. It's really tough here. This is the most difficult terrain I have ever had to track in, and it's high summer here in England and the vegetation is really dense. Plus, if there were any tracks, the rain would wash them away before I could find them. Desperate situations call for desperate measures. I have to try some new tactics. I'm looking to build a hide in these woods, and one of the most important things when you're building a hide is to make sure that first of all you're downwind. That means the wind's got to stay in your face all the time. The next thing is you've got to make sure that you can see as much ground around as possible, down that road there, and across this field. But you also got to make sure that you find a comfortable location and a safe location. And I've found one just up here. Find a leopard by day, so I'm going to hire some night vision equipment and see if I can find it hunting in the dark.
Well, now I've built my hide, it's very comfortable, and I'm looking forward to spending the night in it. Hopefully I can see the big cat, but it can't see me. There's just one more thing to do, and it's a trick to catch this big cat. I cut these sticks earlier, and I'm going to use them to scale. I reckon that when I put these down, a male leopard should come up to about there. I put a feather in here, so it makes it really attractive to its eyes if it comes past. Nice pink thing here.
I've built my hide to trick one of the cat's senses, but a leopard has a fantastic sense of smell, picking up scent from miles away.
I got some birch bark earlier on today, which I'm going to try and light to get our fire going, and it is one of the best things. Whoop, there we go. Oh, we got a little flame, and I've got to get that in there really quickly because that's the basis of our first bit of fire. And you can hear it bubbling away, and I've got to take advantage of those flames as they come out. Look at that birch bark. It's almost oil coming out of that. It's better than any firelight you can buy in a petrol shop. Oh, that's smoky. And I'm kind of wafting onto myself. Lots of smoke all over the place. I'm pulling the smoke into me, into my face, into my clothes. And the reason for this is to get rid of any sweet smells, any soap or aftershave, anything that I picked up during the day. Get it all over. Oh, this is hard work. Oh. That was smoky work, but I've descented myself, and the good side is I've got a cup of tea here. It's going to be a long night, and I've got to keep my eyes up for this big cat.
It's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I can hear deer. They wouldn't make that noise if there's a big cat around. Cats are nocturnal creatures. They can see better than us, and they can hear better than us. And for all we know, it's out there watching us now.
It's been a long night. We heard lots of noises in the woods last night, but not much action in terms of the big cat. Perseverance pays, and we've got to keep looking.
Not all cats are the same. Unlike the lion, it's in prides and groups. The leopard is a solitary animal and only comes together when it's going to mate. And that's why it's so very difficult to find. Once they've mated, they then part. But it might hold this territory for a short period of time, so it will come here and it might feed and then lay down and move off. The only exception to that is a female with cubs, and she'll stay in the same territory and range from that same territory for a period of time. Now this is a perfect spot. This depression in the ground, very difficult to be seen from. And there, some horizontal boughs of that tree, a perfect place to take your prey up to where no one else is going to come and take it off you. And just as I was beginning to give up all hope, I find some evidence.
Deep in the woods, I've come across this kill site, and there's bones everywhere. I've got here the skull from a sika deer. Now, sika deer are just like some of the antelope in Africa. Large herds. A big cat would love that because it could pick out the weakest one within and kill it. Now, I would say that this cat kills a deer every couple of days or so, and that's a perfect meal pack for a cat.
At last, our first encouraging sign of an active cat in this area. I'd normally expect to find prints and droppings at a kill site, but sadly, this one is too old, and any further signs have vanished. A little deeper into the woods and I've come across more convincing evidence. Some white feathers, all that remains of a swan.
The way a fox would eat a swan, for example, or any bird that it caught, it would bite it and pull it out. So it basically stripped the bird of its feathers so it could get into the meat as quickly as possible. So you get this bite and you get this pull out, so it kind of holds it down, pulls the feathers out, holds it with his feet and gets rid of them like that. This is very different. This is a bite through in one, a bit like this. And I don't know anything in the UK that could do that. This looks like it could be a big cat kill.
All mysterious kills and big cat sightings are reported to John Snelling of Dorset Police. And John knows what people are talking about. He's seen one himself. If anybody knows how many big cats are out there, he does.
It would be very difficult to actually put a figure on how many cats we might have in Dorset. It's certainly not 1 or 2. I think we could probably in Dorset support, 4, 6. Doing night patrol out in the sticks, you do see a lot of things flash across the road. You'll get deer, you'll get foxes, rabbits, weasels, all the rest of it. Early hours of the morning, 1 a.m, travelling along a single track road, and as I came up over a rise, I did see something in front of me in the road that was cowering over a roadkill. It was bright green eyes and it flew. It absolutely sped off into the darkness. Now, I've spent enough time out in the country. A fox, even in ambient light, will show a bit of lightness and a bit of red, and this thing was absolutely pitch black.
It was during the 60s that big cats became fashionable pets. You could even buy a black leopard from Harrods for £500. However, it was the introduction of the Dangerous Wild Animals Act in 1976 which made it illegal to keep exotic animals without an expensive license. Many owners let their big cats go into the wild rather than have them put down. This led to an explosion in the big cat population.
Maybe it's worth pointing out that the trade in endangered species, which in the bulk is rare animals, is second only to the drugs trade. Financially, it is incredibly lucrative. Yes, we all know about the price of elephant tusks, the big seizures of ivory and all the rest of it. There could be big money changing hands for some of the exotics, for some of the big cats. Now, what happens when they get here and the housing or the interest isn't there? Have they driven out into the sticks and let them go?
I'm back on the trail of another big cat, and I'm travelling further west across Dorset to investigate a recent big cat sighting at the village of Maiden Newton.
My job at the time, I was a countryside ranger. I've been the ranger for the area here for quite a while, so I was well aware of the wildlife and creatures in the area.
It was a March day when Andy saw the big cat, and this time he was able to capture it.
We were in the garden, myself and a few friends, and I just brought a new camera back from work that we were trying out and saw this cat up on the hill.
It's 300 metres from Andy's garden to the hillside.
Because it was such a distance away, I pushed it right out to full zoom and pointed it up onto the hill, right up on the top behind us. I was aware that cat sightings had taken place in the area, and it was clearly, as far as I'm concerned, quite a large cat. While we were filming it, a fox came across and joined it. They were both quite comfortable together. There was certainly no confrontation or conflict between them. And then the fox moved off in one direction and the cat disappeared into a different direction.
I went up the hill to investigate and to give some scale to the size of the cat in Andy's video.
And this was just about where the big black cat was seen. And you could follow the trail heading up into this area of gorse. It's a well-defined trail used by other animals. I found a really nice spot here. This is the kind of spot that you'd sunbathe in. With that commanding view, you're protected from the back, you can see everything in front of you. A nice sunny day like today, this is where I'd be if I was a cat.
I'm now going to investigate the vegetation behind where the big cat was seen. I'm looking for a tunnel large enough for a big cat to pass through.
Aha, this is what I suspected. An animal's brought its prey in here to eat it, to feed on it. And there's bits of bone, quite big pieces of bone. Now I can definitely say there's no badger trails or runs in here, so a badger didn't bring this animal in here. It's part of a big animal, probably a sheep. Now we haven't seen a big cat here, but the conditions are about as perfect as they'll ever get.
I've met Andy and I've visited the site, but I need to take that video away for frame-by-frame analysis.
And I can see a back hind part of this animal, then there's a dip, and then we go up to bulky shoulders. I can't help but think that a small domestic cat would have just been a dot in this grass, and this is quite a large cat. I'm just spinning it back a little bit because I want to see where it's looking with its ears and its head. And I think at that point it just felt very exposed. It's not the behavior I'd expect from a domestic cat. A domestic cat would stroll across there, but for some reason this cat felt very exposed, and something made it leap. Oh, there we go, look at that leap, it's huge. 3 big leaps, and it goes into a tunnel. The tunnel is the same tunnel that I actually revisited, and I went through there. It was quite a big tunnel, but look at that. Those leaps are incredible. Last bounce, and it's in the tunnel, and all I can see just by winding it back, frame by frame, I'm looking at that tail. For the first time ever, I've just seen the tail on this cat, and it's long. And just as I wind this forward frame by frame, I'm trying to scale it up, and I visited this site, and the opening was at least 20 feet. And in a couple of bounds, this cat crossed that territory. There it goes again. It just bounces. Incredible agility. I've been to kills by so-called black leopards or cats on the loose in the UK. And this one here is by far the most conclusive because we have got a very good witness with some footage. And I visited this area, and inside I found animal remains inside a tunnel. And that is the most conclusive evidence so far that a black leopard is on the loose in the UK.
I've been here for 2 weeks and I've given it my best shot. I've seen some convincing video footage and I've spoken to those that filmed it. I've been inside big cat tunnels and I've seen kills of sheep, of deer and a swan, and all of those carry the traits of a big cat kill.